Welcome to Focus on Education. I'm Keith Fillauer, Chairman of the Oak Ridge Board of Education. And beginning with this show and for the remainder of the school year, members of the Board of Education will be inviting guests to come and talk about pertinent topics pertaining to the Oak Ridge schools. And tonight we're excited to have, we've realized, I think, for the first time in 6 years since you've been here, I guess we waited long enough just to make sure everything
Yeah, now
would
we're
work
okay.
out.
We're okay. Yes. Yes.
Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Bruce Borchers, thank you and appreciate you being here. We've got a lot to try to cram into the next 30 minutes, so let's just start out first and let you give a little bit of your background. I know when you first came to Oak Ridge, your daughter Bailey was starting at the University of Tennessee.
That's right.
Your son Jack was in the 8th grade, I believe.
8th grade, yeah,
Robertsville. At Robertsville. Yeah. So we know that scenario. So let's pick up now where they are and tell us a little bit about your family and your background.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with my most important support source, my wife Shannon. We just had our 25th anniversary this last summer.
Yeah,
thank you very much. So she's just a wonderful support, and as you know, in this profession, especially as a superintendent, sometimes you move around and you take different positions. So she's been wonderful in that way, and we're just so happy to be here in Oak Ridge schools and the Oak Ridge community. But yes, Jack graduated last year. I'll start with him, and now is at Tennessee College of Applied Technology in the welding program. So very excited about that. And sometimes things just happen for a reason. If we hadn't moved here and I hadn't been offered that position, Jack would have never had those opportunities in his high school career. So just very happy that that's happened. And yes, Bailey is I'll call her a senior. We had a major change in there, and she would laugh if she heard me talking about it. But she has about a year left at UT and should graduate next year.
Well, that's great. And time goes by quickly, as we well know, and our youngsters become young adults and move on. And we're going to, in fact, a little bit later on in the show, talk about the welding program that we have here at Oak Ridge High School. And I will say that at our last board meeting, and you heard me mention at the start of the show, this is the 6th year for Dr. Borchers being superintendent of the Oak Ridge schools. And at our last board meeting, we extended his contract as we can by state law. We can only do it 1 year at a time, unlike football coaches and others where their contract can be extended indefinitely, and so forth. So we're glad that he did accept, and will continue. And great things have happened since you've been here, and we're going to talk about some of those. And I think the first place to start will be with a program that you initiated called 7 Keys to College and Career Readiness. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah. That was, it has been a long time now. We're in year 6 of that, but part of my indoctrination, if you would, my introduction to the Oak Ridge schools was to show up with questions instead of showing up with answers. And I wanted to talk to a lot of people. I remember talking to you, Mr. Fillauer, and people I needed to talk to in the community, and tried to reach out as much as possible to kind of learn the community, learn the schools. And a few months in, we started a listening tour, if you would, and really started to talk about, what do we want our students to have? What are some measures that are out there that would say that our graduates are going to be successful when they leave us after they walk across the stage? So we began to ask staff. We met as many groups as we can, had thousands of people provide input, gathered all of that input, and we came up with these key performance indicators, if you would, of what our community, our staff would like to see from our students, and that they would be on track to graduate and be successful after they've left us. So we came up with 7 keys, and we won't go through all of those, but the first key obviously is reading at grade level by 3rd grade, and that's a statistic that's out there for everybody to see, and we continue to work very, very hard at that, and that culminates then with key 7. And we really do a lot of discussion and talk about Key 7. And Key 7, for everybody that doesn't or might not know that, is we want every student to participate in either advanced placement, dual enrollment, industry certification, or participate now, thank goodness, our Navy JROTC program. we know if they participate in one of those 4 areas, they're going to have a chance to be much more successful upon leaving us. And it's fun to see a program initiative like the Keys actually happen. I think sometimes you see pretty pamphlets or a strategic plan that kind of gets put on the shelf, and we've actually seen evidence that it is working. And very proud to say, if I can, when we first applied that Key 7 metric to our student body, we were at about 75% of our students, which I think still, in like most areas, is better than most districts in our state. But just this last year, we were close to 91%. So that is just an amazing endeavor, and I'll be first to admit, if I don't say it enough this evening, that's done because of the hardworking staff we have, the focus they have on that mission and vision, and I can't thank them enough for the work they've done. Our teacher leaders, our administrative leaders, they have helped move that from 75 to 91%.
And I think too, one of the things that has done is it has given our staff a focus, a mission where collectively they can all work together for the same goal. And people will ask me, well, what's the most important thing about education? We know education can be on a cycle where different initiatives come about, but I see what we're doing here in Oak Ridge. We understand that not every kid is on a path to go to college. So I see us working harder to find all of those paths, to reach that Key 7, which you've talked about. So when the goal to me is when a student enters the Oak Ridge schools, we want to see them graduate. That is our top goal. And there's going to be, as we all know also, there's going to be hills and valleys along the way. But if they graduate, we're going to give them an opportunity to be successful somewhere.
That's right.
And we've also tied in our strategic planning, Oak Ridge 2020, with those 7 keys. And to reemphasize again, and this is important, these are 2 items that are not on a shelf. So if somebody comes by and say, well, there's our 7 keys up there. These are living documents. Absolutely. And they're working documents. And as a board, we look forward to the reports to see how we're making strides. We know that there's weaknesses in areas, but if we're working toward that common goal, I think that's an important thing.
That's right.
And we'll probably hit on the 7 keys as we go through a couple of other things because they do fit in there.
Absolutely.
So since we started there and we jumped to Key 7, let's talk about a couple of programs that we have, and you can pick, and if you want to hit all of them, fine. Okay. But you've mentioned one, and that's our Navy Junior ROTC program. Talk about our auto mechanic program, our welding program, Absolutely. Which we talked about earlier. A lot of our CTE programs that are going on that give those kids the opportunity to do that. So hit any or all of those that you like to.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'll probably start that out with going back to, as you said, to Key 7. So when we 5 years ago, when we saw that 75% of our kids were hitting Key 7, the natural question was, okay, what about the other 25%? What are we going to do for those students? And we, at that point then, we'll probably bring up another topic you may ask me about tonight. If we were going to add programs, what kind of programs would we add? And because of STEM, and I don't think you have to go very far to Google or look on the news or see things like that where some growth areas are in STEM, that if we added some programs, it might be helpful if we add some in that kind of area, in the fields in that area. So we were very lucky. You mentioned auto. I'll start there. Oak Ridge used to have a very good automotive program. The program went away, but we've been able to revitalize that and to revitalize it in a great way. Mr. Patrick Ledoux is our instructor over there, and it's in our G building, if the people that probably remember when it was there before. So we renovated that area and now have one of the best programs in the region. They do extremely well. Our students are leaving with industry certifications that can immediately lead them to employment. We have one possibly 2 students already working at Mercedes-Benz, and that's right out of high school with an internship and apprenticeship at Mercedes-Benz in Knoxville. So just amazing opportunities for kids if they choose to go to that path, go through that path. So very excited about adding that program. For a long time, I know since day one in Oak Ridge Schools, we had talked about having an ROTC program. And we knew that there was a demand there. We surveyed our students here at the high school, and we knew that was something we'd have numerous students want to participate in. And I know Scotty Harrell, assistant principal here at the Oak Ridge High School, was constantly looking for programs, one of the Armed Forces units to join us, but finally we were able to get a Navy JROTC program. It has, I can't say enough about what Chief has done with our kids for this program. You have to have the right person, and we certainly have the right person in Chief Nichols. He's done just a wonderful job, and I think we will continue to see that program grow.
You mentioned STEM. We need to brag just a little bit about our STEM program and the recognition that we received once again based on a lot of hard work that our staff has put forth and students.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So brag a little bit about our STEM and tell us the recognition that we received with our STEM certification.
Very, very proud of that. You know, we are advanced ed certified, and our staff, we felt when they added a certification for STEM, we thought we could, if we can't do it, nobody can. So we went forward and went through a rigorous review by advanced ed. And the long story short, the Oak Ridge Schools was the first district in the state of Tennessee to have all schools certified, advanced ed STEM certified, and the second district in the world to have every school in the district advanced ed STEM certified. And I want to hit on that because we have it doesn't take you much to look at accountability and all the things that are hitting teachers and administrative staff. And for them to add this to their already burdensome workload, it would not have happened had it not been for teacher, administrative leaders, and our students.
We've got a lot more to talk about, but before we get into the next topic, I see that we need to take a break. So we'll take a very short break and be back to focus on education. Welcome back to Focus on Education. Our guest tonight is Dr. Bruce Borchers, Superintendent of the Oak Ridge Schools, and let's get right back to where we were. We know, very excited, after many years of discussion that a new preschool is under construction. We know that we're doing some work in our school, particularly in the area of energy with ESG. Right. And we also know there's needs in the way of capital projects for our schools. So let's talk a little bit about that. Absolutely.
Yes, you said it best. Being in a position now to see that land being cleared and starting to see hopefully things pretty quickly go vertical at that preschool site is truly exciting. I think I'll go back to Mr. Eby said, you know, he remembers talking about this back in 1985. So, and I know you as well have been through discussions about needing a new location for our preschool students. So I think it's extremely exciting for our community and our students and families that they'll be able to hopefully next year sometime after Christmas be able to go into and walk into a new facility for their program. So very excited to have that happen. Other things on the horizon, there's always competing priorities every year, and we have budget season coming up, and one of the things we'll be focusing on again this year in that season will be our capital needs. And I think everybody understands that certain things need to be kept up to date, certain things need to be fixed on a routine basis. So one of our challenges, I think, for the city and the schools is roofing issues. And we've done a roofing study in collaboration with the city. We're very thankful for that. And I think we're at the point now where some decisions some decisions probably need to be made. We've kind of ranked ordered roofing needs in the city, in the school district, and it's my hope that we can have some type of movement forward on those needs. We have many roofs that most people, as you drive by, it's not something you think about that needs replacement, but the public may have heard that just recently replacing the roof at Robertsville would be $1 million. And we've got 7 other buildings, and when you think of the size roof of Robertsville and compare that to Oak Ridge High School, those numbers keep going up and up. So one of the things, and both collaboratively with the city, that we're going to need to find a path forward to make sure we can start fixing some of those roofs. And then you asked me one more thing, Keys, and now I'm forgetting the question you had. We have the roofs. HVAC. Yes, you were talking about the ESG, which we were very thankful that we could collaborate with the city again to use energy savings dollars to help offset the cost of HVAC. But very similar to our situation with roofs, we have aging HVAC units, and I hope at some point we'll be able to talk about a second round of ESG and projects, both for the city and the school district, because there is a need there. We're very thankful for this first round of HVAC improvements, but there's a long, long list of other HVAC improvements that need to be made.
And I think we have seen that our first round has proven successful by what's being done, not only in revitalizing the buildings, inside the buildings, but also bringing about that savings through the energy savings that expected. And it is important that we look forward to this next round sooner than later.
Absolutely. I think that would be critical, and especially when we know now we've been through this first round, we're seeing the energy saving results come through, and if we could do that on a grander scale, I think that would be a great win for our community.
And I think too, on down the road, once the preschool moves into its new facility, the other part of that aged building is our school administration, and we're going to already have been having discussions about what we're going to do there. We've also, in a very positive direction, have seen another group of potential housing developments start up. We've seen tremendous growth in the preserve, and we may have to look at a new elementary school, which would be exciting, which means there is growth. We're in Oak Ridge, has kind of held its own. We've gone up a few, but looking at the possibility of a serious influx of students.
That's right, yeah, and as the board recalls at our last meeting, part of our decisions at that meeting were to have an outside entity kind of review our capacity in all of our buildings, what buildings could be added on to if need be. So we're trying to get ahead of that, and again, it is very exciting to talk about growth for our great community, but that many times, I know for a superintendent and school board, that means a lot of work, a lot of planning, and a lot of forward thinking to make sure we're making the right decisions going forward. But we are we'll be preparing for that here in the very near future.
Moving on, another area in which we can take great pride in the Oak Ridge schools is our one-to-one. We're getting ready to add another grade level in with that. And I don't know, this is not a factual statement. You may know more than I on this, but I would say as we are across the board in our grade levels, we probably have as many or more grade levels than most schools in the state of Tennessee using the one-to-one device. Talk briefly about that.
Absolutely, yeah, and we called our one-to-one movement Access Oak Ridge, and it really was to help level that playing field for all students, where some students had technology, some did not, some had wireless at home, some did not. And I'm just very proud of how our staff has responded to technology, the one-to-one program, Access Oak Ridge, and you know, I'm biased, but I think we had an unbelievable rollout and implementation plan to do this. And you really start with people that believe in it, and that's what we did about 4 or 5 years ago at Jefferson and Robertsville Middle School. And the things that our staff and our students have been able, what they've been able to do with the device has been just amazing. And we were very upfront, in the beginning, that the best thing we have going for a student is that teacher in front of the classroom. And that technology piece, the device, just adds to the power of a great teacher. And I am just so proud. I'm in awe every time we take a tour of our district to see what the teachers are doing with this equipment, what our students are doing with this equipment. I don't think I could have predicted 5 years ago where we would be. And the only reason for that is we've had teachers that have bought in. They want this technology because they know it's what's best for kids, and it's the world that they're entering into. But I have to applaud our staff, because it's no longer Dr. Borchers going, I think we need to do this. Now, they're asking now, can we do this? Can we have that? Could we do this? And that's a wonderful place to be in as a superintendent and a leader.
And once again, going back to something I said earlier, because of that, it opens up additional pathways for our students to reach that graduation point and then move on and be successful. When we were talking about our welding program and our Navy Junior ROTC, we have a new program, cybersecurity, that fits kind of right in with everything that's going on as well today. This gives our students that next step with staying in tune to what we're facing in the community today with technology.
Absolutely, and I can remember as we were talking about this as a board and superintendent back when we didn't have Access Oak Ridge, and we'd go to buildings and they were piecemealing things, and I think we all realized that what we thought a second grader or a third grader couldn't do with a computer, they can. Yes. And now we're realizing, if you lift that ceiling and give them that opportunity, they can do amazing things with it. And our staff and students, they're doing this on a daily basis.
Several years ago, you made a change that has benefited our system immensely, in my opinion and in the opinion of the board, and that's some reshuffling of administrative duties. You want to talk just a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
Because they would be mad at both you and I if we didn't mention them. And before you do that, and before we leave the Access Oak Ridge, we'd also be amiss if we didn't mention the outstanding IT department that we have in the Oak Ridge District. They do wonders to make sure everything is running up to date, and they are on top of it. They're really fantastic.
Let's start there. I'll just continue to applaud them. Yes, the growth in that department, the expertise, what they have done for this district is really been amazing. And we've had several outside entities come to Oak Ridge as we prepared for this, and even after that. And the best they can say, how they put it is, we're best in class. And I won't name districts, but we have far exceeded districts around us in our infrastructure. Things people don't see every day. When you pick the phone up, it works. And but no, they have done just a wonderful job. And then in addition to that, yes, I had the opportunity to add 2 executive directors a few years back, and Mr. Bruce Lay, Executive Director of School Leadership, and Dr. Tracy Beckendorf, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning. And I am blessed as a superintendent to have these 2 people working closely with me. They are, the amount of work and the capacity they have for work is second to none. I've never worked with anybody better. And just a fantastic team. And I think you have to be able to have dialogue with your team and be able to have open conversations. We can get in a room and all have, come in with A, B, and C, and we might leave with D because we all respect each other. And I think we make better decisions when we can listen openly and put things on the table. And I myself personally have never been with this high functioning of a team that we have. And having said that, they truly exemplifies, service leadership, and they help people. They talk to people, they're out in the buildings, and just done an amazing work. I couldn't have asked for a better team. So I think it was a good move. It continues to just show so amazing signs of how talented they are, and it's just fun to come to work every day and work with those people.
And you know, all the things that we've talked about since the beginning of this show, it's important, I think, to make sure we give and applaud our students that come to school wanting to learn, wanting to take advantage of the opportunities that they have. As we sit here in this television studio with students operating the equipment,
Absolutely.
What a plus that is to have these, and it's not during school hours that we're doing this right now, so they're here extra to make something like this happen, and that's very important as well. Well, let's jump ahead. Now that you've been here 6 years, tell me a little bit about your thinking on down the road a little bit.
Absolutely. You know, I think because of some of the things we talked about earlier this evening, and we have kept a focus on the keys, Oak Ridge 2020, STEM, project-based learning, I think not jumping back and forth between initiatives every other year or every year has truly allowed us to excel with all of those initiatives. So we will stay the course and continue to get better at all of those things that we're currently doing. That would be one of our major focuses. And then, you know, the challenge or the discussion I had in January with all staff was focused on, you know, the class of 2030, our kindergartners, first graders, and how fast things change in our world and how fast they will change for those particular students. So I think our challenge is to continue to be open, continue to be transparent and reflective on what we're doing. And we don't want to be so far out on the cutting edge that it hurts a little bit, but we certainly need to keep thinking about what's the next program, what's the next strategy for our kids, so that we can help them walk across the stage 12 years from now, just as some of our students are now ready for the world that exists today. So I think to continue to do that, to continue to be learners and reflective, and then continue our focus, really a laser-like focus with the committee Dr. Beckendorf leads, with continuous improvement. We're never happy. We're never happy with status quo. We're never happy with where our achievement level is. We'll celebrate a little bit, but it's right back to work. And I think if we can continue to have that focus on getting better every day, looking at our data and having real honest conversations, we will continue to excel in the Oak Ridge schools.
And the achievements that we have talked about are encouragements for our staff and students to do better, to find that next level, to see what they can accomplish and not be satisfied. And you're right, we don't want to be satisfied with just because we reached STEM certification, or we have 1 and 1. What can we take that and what can we do better with that? That has to be where we're going.
Absolutely, yeah, and I know my staff will go back to my team. You know, I'll watch some futurist emails, the National School Board. You know, what other districts are doing or movements that are out there, and every once in a while I'll just shoot an article or I'll shoot an idea and just throw that out there, going, hey, we could probably do this. We could make this happen, and they'll say, well, we might, you know, but we'll kick those things around. But I have a team that is constantly looking for things of some stretch ideas of, I think we could do this. I think we can make this happen. And we meet, we talk, and see if we can make that a reality for our kids.
We have run out of time. There's a lot more we can talk about, so we will have to do this again.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for 6 years of growth in the Oak Ridge schools, and we look for many more years ahead. Thank you for watching Focus on Education. Next month, another member of the Board of Education will be your host, and we'll be bringing you a guest to talk about many of the great things that are going on in the Oak Ridge schools. Have a great evening.